The truth shall set you free. And this is April the 6th, 2025 on man's calendar. Um, I want to get right on back into this because there's a lot of this to cover. Again, I apologize for any commercials that pop up. I'll try to weed them out as much as possible.
He showed me his little certificate you get. He also told me that if you ever felt like we were in deep spiritual trouble, that I should join the Mormon church because it was a church that had been started by witches for witches that we could hang out in and pretend to be nice. The image of the Mormon church. They're straight, nice, wonderful, all-American people with happy families and white picket fences and all of that.
Yeah, moral Christians.
But secretly, they believe almost the same doctrines that witches believe. And we can get into that if you want. But anyhow, so he gave us that advice. Again, this was in the early 70s. So I joined the Masonic Lodge, became a Master Mason at the same time as I was a Satanist and a witch. And only our inner circle of the witches that we by this time, we've initiated over 100 witches. And only our inner circle knew that we were also Satanists. And we were continuing in this. And
Need I remind you, we have one of these lodges right here in our town. And it has 3 different groups in it. I'm not going to go into that at this time because I want you to hear all of what he's saying, and he's telling you the download on these different types.
Finally figured out that there was a deeper level of Satanism, and I got in touch with some of them.
He's also telling you
there's
how
no
they're
internet.
in the
We had to do all this by mail,
which is what I've been trying to tell you.
And there was a group in Michigan called the Order of the Black Ram, which is like more hardcore satanic stuff. There was another group in Chicago called the Brotherhood, and I got involved with them because they were closer, because Milwaukee's just up the road about 90 miles from Chicago. And I got really, I sold my soul to the devil. That's how deep I got into this stuff.
Yeah. Before we actually get to that part, I want to make sure to take some time to talk about Freemasonry, because Freemasonry, it's very rare to actually talk about to talk to former Masons, because it's something that you're not supposed to talk about. So it's kind of an opportunity while I have you here to kind of, for me personally, to learn, but also for the people to kind of have a knowledge about what Freemasonry is. You said that you became a Master Mason. Can you explain how the degrees and the lodges are set up in Freemasonry so people actually understand what we're talking about?
Well, the basic thing is what's called the Blue Lodge. And that consists of 3 degrees: entered apprentice, fellow craft, and Master Mason. A lot of Masons never go any further than that. I did. But basically, it's like an initiatory process. The requirements are you have to, at that time, now mind you, I think I joined in 75. You had to be a man, freeborn, of good report, and well recommended. So they asked you if you believe in God, and I said yes, I did. And they didn't ask which God I believed in. They just, do you believe in God? And I said yes. I didn't tell them that the God I believed in had horns. So anyhow, I went through there's this whole process. You do a lot of memory work, they call it. You memorize all of these ritual things. You have a mentor who's called your poster, who's an older Mason. And the guy that I had was a real, very kind guy, an executive in the power company. I can't remember the company. And he helped me memorize all this stuff. And then you go to 2nd degree, and then you have a whole bunch of stuff to memorize. And just let me touch this briefly, because people ask me, well, at what point does Masonry start to look creepy? I mean, because there's tons of Christians that are Masons, literally thousands of them. And I just asked him, how can you do that? I mean, because
sorry again about the
when
commercial.
you start out as a Mason, they make you come to the lodge, they make you take off all your clothes except your undies. They put you in this like jammies. They're like, they're like pajamas. They're like, typically the one knee is bare and one breast is bare. Your left breast, and I think your right knee. And you're blindfolded. You have a cable around your neck. It's like a velvet, they call it a cable tow. It's like a velvet blue rope. And you're tied up. And you're led to the door of the lodge. And you've got a guy leading you, because of course you're blindfolded. He knocks on the door, and somebody on this is all ritualized. And the guy on the other side says, "Who comes here?" And your guy who's guiding you, who's a lodge officer, he says, "Mr. Bill Sneblin, who has been long in darkness, and now seeks to be brought to light, to receive the rights and benefits of the worshipful lodge, erected to God as all members have done before." And I asked Mr. Christian, Mr. Pastor, Mr. Elder, because there's, like it used to be, I don't know if it still is, it used to be 40% of the pastors in a Southern Baptist convention were Freemasons. And how can you say that you're in darkness when you have Jesus in your heart? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And then, that's not it. You go into the lodge, you're led around, like they call it circumambulation. You walk around the lodge. They have these officers, the junior warden, the senior warden at the different, things of the compass. And in the east is the worshipful master, who's like the big cheese. Then you're made to kneel at this altar. Again, you're still blindfolded. And you're made to understand.
I hope you're following this. I really, really hope you're understanding what he's saying here. I hope you're letting this in. This is in the churches. This is what I hope that you are coming to understand. They're in the churches. And they're trying to take over the churches.
And you're putting your hands on this huge, it's like a pulpit Bible, big King James Bible. And this guy comes forward, this worshipful master, and he says, we're going to lead you through this oath. And I'm not going to go through the whole oath because it takes like 5 minutes, but it's this long, involved, and ultimately blood-curdling oath. At the end, you say, you swear, the essence of the oath is to keep the secrets of an entered apprentice Mason, which of course I'm violating right now. And then at the end, you swear that if I should ever reveal the secrets of an entered apprentice Mason, that I swear that I will have my throat cut across, my tongue torn out by the roots, and buried in the sands of the sea, where the tide ebbs and flows twice in 24 hours, should I ever knowingly violate this, my entered apprentice obligation. So help me God, and keep me steadfast to the due performance of the same.
Do not take apple cider vinegar.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And then, that's not it.
They don't have Jesus in their heart.
You're led around, like they call it circumambulation. You walk around the lodge. They have these officers, the junior warden, the senior warden at the different, things of the compass. And in the east is the worshipful master, who's like the big cheese. Then you're made to kneel at this altar. Again, you're still blindfolded. And you're made to understand that you're putting your hand. You understand, I hope by now, that these people are infiltrating the churches. Witches, warlocks, druids. The devil's occults have infiltrated their churches. And they blend in and try to make themselves look like angels of light. And they try to manipulate you into taking part in the rituals along with them. This is what I've been trying to warn you is in the churches. and it's huge. It's like a pulpit Bible, big King James Bible. And this guy comes forward, this worshipful master, and he says, we're going to lead you through this oath. And I'm not going to go through the whole oath because it takes like 5 minutes, but it's this long, involved, and ultimately blood-curdling oath. At the end, you say, you swear, the essence of the oath is to keep the secrets of an entered apprentice Mason, which of course I'm violating right now. And then at the end, you swear that if I should ever reveal the secrets of an entered apprentice Mason, that I swear that I will have my throat cut across, my tongue torn out by the roots, and buried in the sands of the sea where the tide ebbs and flows twice in 24 hours, should I ever knowingly violate this, my entered apprentice obligation. So help me God and keep me steadfast to the due performance of the same. Now, if you were a Christian past...
This is who you're supposed to have authority over, ministers. But how can you have authority over these people if you are one of them and you're participating in their occult rituals?
Or whatever, wouldn't that kind of raise the hair on the back of your neck?
Yeah, I think it was raise the head on the back of the necks of pretty much most
Raise the
people
head on
just
the
to
back
hear
of the
that.
neck.
Yeah. And then, at that point, the worshipful master says, my brother, in your current situation, what do you most desire? And then the guy that's with you, that he's a senior warden, says, light, whispers it in your ear. And I say light. And then they remove the blindfold. And you see before you this big open Bible with a square and compass on it. And those represent the three great lights of Masonry: the Bible, the square, and the compass. And then they are revealed by the three lesser lights of Masonry, which are three burning tapers that are adjacent.
This was thrown out of England. You realize that, right? Years ago. Along with the, what was it called? The Declaration of Indulgence, which we brought to America and retitled it. Our presidents now brought it to America and retitled it the Declaration of Independence. These people wanted to be able to live and to serve their idol gods, their witchcraft, the devil, and they wanted to be able to do these evil things in the open without any problem, without being burnt at the stake, basically. And also without repercussions. They wanted to live in their menage a trois as well, which means they wanted to have more than one husband or wife. And they, even some of them wanted to have husbands as well. Wives wanted to have wives as well. The homosexual thing. So this stuff is going on inside of this, and these people have infiltrated the churches.
To the altar. Now that's the most mild initiation. From there on, they get more and more creepy. So I don't know how deep you want to go into this, but basically Masonry is an anti-Christ thing. It claims exactly it's not religious, but it is. They play around with it because they say, oh, well, we're just religious, but we're not a religion. Because if they were a religion, then if you were already a Christian, you shouldn't join another religion. Most Christians would say that. Like, if you're a Christian, you wouldn't become a Buddhist.
Right.
Well, Masonry is a religion. I mean, it has all the qualities. That's what I tell people. If you look at Webster's dictionary, There's three things that make something a religion, according to Webster. Number one, something has a belief in some sort of
Sorry
deity.
about the
Masonry
things.
has that.
They're going to come
Number
up.
two, that belief is expressed in some sort of ritual. And Masonry is full of ritual. I mean, that's pretty much all it is. And then the third quality is it has a system of some sort of ethics or morality. And Masonry has that. So Masonry is a religion.
Morality.
And it's an antichrist religion. And
Not
the problem
faith.
is that
Not
basically,
obedience to
if
the
you
word of
drill
God.
down into this deep
Morality.
enough and read the books that are written by people like Albert Pike, like Albert Mackey. These are two, or
The books written by people. Not by the apostles, not by God, by people. Demonically possessed people. The same ones who wrote the Apothecary that y'all have in your Bibles that you think was actually part of the true Bible. No, it wasn't. That was never written, and if you will look into it, you will find out the Apothecary was never written by the apostles. They were written by these Masonic people and put into the Bibles by the Catholic people. The Catholic Church instituted this into the Bible and inserted this in and started selling these things and marketing these things, claiming that they were lost books in the Bible that had been removed in this, that, and the other. Adding to and taking away from is against the written word of God. Why do you think the plagues are upon the earth today? Because they've been adding to the word of God.
Arthur Edward Waite. These are three prominent scholars of 19th century, early 20th century Masonry. And all of them were occultists. Arthur Edward Waite, he wrote a book on black magic and pacts, how to sell your soul to the devil. And in my book,
across America, predicting the outcome of the big game just got a whole lot more interesting.
This is an older edition. This is the first edition. It looks different now. But in my book, I document how almost every single leading occult person of the late 19th and early 20th century was a Freemason. They just go together like, love and marriage.
If people want to go look at these books, I just want you to kind of give them an idea, because if they want to confirm that for themselves, what books are you talking about? What people are you talking about?
Well, there's Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. He was like the greatest Masonic scholar in America of the 19th century. He was the sovereign grand commander of the Scottish Rite, and he's buried in the Scottish Rite Temple, 13 blocks from the White House. So that's one. The other one is
13 blocks from the White House. This man is buried 13 blocks from the White House in a Masonic temple. Look who's been running the country's people.
Albert Mackey's Encyclopedia of Freemasonry.
You're
There's
right to
Arthur
vote.
Edward Waite, who has a whole bunch of books on Masonry.
That's not how God appointed
again,
people.
all of these are footnoted in my book. I mean, the last lots of pages of footnotes, because I'm not just making this stuff up. The other person who really you need to pay attention to in all of this, because he's more contemporary. Have you ever heard of Manly P. Hall?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was one of the most notable occultists in America in the 20th century. He passed away in 1994, I think. He was the head of the...
We're going to pick this up in the next part because there's still much to cover. You need to pay attention. You need to listen, you need to learn, and you need to learn to discern when you are at church. This is why the Lord said, know them by their fruits. But you actually have to pay attention. And it's more than just what they act in front of you when they're in service. Everybody's going to act like an angel while they're sitting on the pew right in front of you. Everybody's going to act like they know Jesus. But not everybody will be baptized in his name. Not everybody will take on his mentality. Not everyone will keep his commandments. Of course, these people believe in being moral. That's how they fool people. See you in the next part.